Good evening, everyone. Before I hand over to the chair of tonight's meeting, I remind everyone in the room, we are now live streaming. We politely request that all participants wait until being invited to speak by the chair. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand. Once invited to speak, please preface your contribution by stating your name. This will help the mics lock in on the primary speaker and thereby maximise the sound quality for those watching at home. If you are watching at home and wish to participate in tonight's meeting, please turn your video on. If you're just observing, please turn your video off. Unless actively speaking, all those watching the meeting via Zoom should have their mics muted. I will now hand over to tonight's chair, Councillor Griffin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Item number 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence.
That's Councillor Raby.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest.
I am on the board group, I'm not quite sure what you call it, for the Swish event, so I will abstain from that vote, but Councillor Westbrook is here in her capacity to talk on it.
I'm not sure if I do need to declare this. I have family that works for a stroke unit, but not specifically for the group that's come in to ask for a grant. So I do obviously have a.
So you or your spouse?
No, it's my mother.
It's not pecuniary.
It's not, no, that's fine.
Item 3, public participation. Joe, I think you got your hand up first.
Hi everyone. I just wondered, I looked on the agenda and I couldn't see that there was any performance updates or project updates. Previously, after many rounds of discussing where the council should give performance and project updates, there was some wonderful documents produced with little green and red stickers all over it. And given that there was a rather extensive spreadsheet of projects that are sort of being worked through by the council, I thought this would have been the place to come to receive those updates, and yet I couldn't see them on there. Is there a reason why they're not on there, or have I missed something myself?
Yeah.
It's because council have got now like a what's it called, task and
Strategy.
yeah, task and field strategy meeting. We're going to take that the projects to there, then out of there we're prioritising the projects, and then we'll do something out of that meeting. So that's taking place on what day?
30th of September.
30th of September.
Can I just come back on one then? So what we're saying is then that the public won't be able to get an update on the council's current status within its projects until whenever this task and finish group is complete, because it's now a task and finish group which is closed to the public.
I think the intention is that this task and finish group will review the reports to make sure that they make sense, because the last time we looked at them, there were some odd historical values, and then bring the conclusion back to the full council.
Thank you, I'll let.
Mr. Chairman, on point of order, can I ask when that decision was made? Because I don't remember it being made in this committee. And this committee is mandated to take that report as a standing item at every meeting.
Yeah, my recollection is that at the strategy meeting, that was the method.
But the register was set, that was not a meeting of council, Chairman. Can I ask when this committee or full council decided to remove performance from this committee's agenda and the standing item of performance updates, which council had voted should come to this committee meeting at every meeting? When was that decision taken to remove it from the agenda? When did you as chair agree to no longer take those items?
I have not.
At this meeting?
So at the moment, it should come back to the finance committee. But at the moment, tonight, we don't have any performance reports on the agenda or within the reports pack.
Do I come back to a why?
I'm not in a position to be able to answer that. We need to refer that to officers about workload and availability.
It does No, okay, it feels like pulling teeth.
I acknowledge your frustration, is that the right term? But at the present time this evening, there's nothing more that we can do, so there is little point in pursuing the conversation this evening on this topic, but we will follow it up, certainly for the next finance meeting, to determine why the reports are not yet available.
Could I ask that they come to full council? Just because I think that, you know, it was my thing to bring them forward. It was my motion I got through, and we worked extensively about where they were going to come and what committee it made sense for them to go in. It was decided on this committee, and I just think that us not having them, it kind of goes against obviously what the subcommittee is meant to be. If we could bring them to full council, that would be really helpful, just so we can all get, because I think it is right, you know, this is the committee where the public are meant to get an update as well on where we are on different projects. And I think it's really important that they get that update. You know, it was all about transparency and making sure the public can know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's fine, but if I can just, I've got to get used to your way of working, because
Of course.
most parish and town councils, their performance is through their meetings, and that's why you have committees. So you have actions on each committees, and then it's updated to the next committee on what's happening with that. I'm not used to everything coming as like a performance thing to one committee.
Of course, I
You could
understand
get
that.
confused.
No, it's absolutely fine. And I think, you know, for historical reasons, it came to this one because we weren't getting that. And if that's the way we're going to go in the future, great. Makes far more sense that each committee finds out what their projects are and where they are on it. But I think that we have to have a time when we know what's happening, because otherwise it, you know, it stops us phoning you every 20 minutes going, what's happening with this and what's happening with this and what's happening with this, and getting that 17 times.
But maybe there's misunderstanding along the way, because that's what I believe that strategic meeting was for as well. We're working towards prioritising major projects.
But yeah, if we could just get that, would be great. Thank you so much.
Stu,
Thank you, Chair. I've got a little bit concerned about agenda item 6, signatories of the town clerk and RFO. I question whether it is appropriate or necessary for town clerk and RFO to be signatories. Where are the segregation of duties? Segregation of duties means individuals who have responsibility of control of money must not be able to approve transactions. It is the responsibility of 2 councillors to approve transactions. The addition of these 2 signatures to the bank mandate was resolved at finance meeting, which appears to be in breach of finance regs. The council banking arrangements, including the bank mandate, shall be made by the town clerk and approved by council. Banking arrangements may not be delegated to a committee. I just wondered what a governance audit would look into this, and how he would feel about it.
May I answer?
yep, certainly, yes. If you'd like to respond, and then I.
So the council sets its budget every year, and that is the authority to spend within that budget. So then orders are made and purchase orders are made. The invoice will come in, and really it's for the town clerk or the RFO, the finance officer, to check that invoice against the order. Currently, councillors are then asked to come into the council office to then also do that actual check. And you have to remember that we are business, we run like a business, we have lots of transactions. So it's much a quicker process because we're waiting to move that transaction on, and we were criticised for the amount of time payments took at the last meeting. And it is within the law that the RFO or clerk can authorise those payments, but that's only one process. It then goes on to the banking system, and that is then sent electronically for members to then approve that payment. So in a way, you've got a three check, because you've got the finance officer who's loading the invoices. You've got the clerk, RFO checking that that's what put on does match what that purchase order is. That is then going to be sent through then to members to actually authorise that payment on the bank.
I just said something when I used to come in and approve the invoices, then I would go home and then somebody would send out a list. And can I remember what I'd authorised, or another councillor could just authorise those? To me, it would make more sense if the invoices were put on the system and the invoices sent out for approval and those payments authorised all in one go. I just think that would make more sense, really, because you're actually approving an invoice that you haven't actually got the payment on the bank for. That ought to be one of the same thing, I feel. Just my thought on it. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that.
Sue, thank you for your remarks and your question. I share some of your concerns about the potential absence of segregation of responsibilities. And I will look back at what's occurred recently in meetings regarding signatories and the council policies, and I will ensure that if any revisions or amendments are required, they will be enacted as soon as possible.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's going to bring the second at the minutes anyway, but as the matter's been raised now, the process that the local clerk has just described is not the one that's set in the minutes of the meeting. I remember being, I think, the only person who voted against this at the meeting last time, because it's resolved, according to the minutes, resolved to add the local town clerk and local RFO to the bank mandate to be able to make payments, transfer and authorise payments. That's not the process which was described to us just now, where it was that payments would be put onto the system and then go to councillors for authorisation. And there was a big difference between somebody being able to set up payments on a banking system and authorise those payments on a banking system. And I think it would be very useful to have the clarity of exactly which of those two permissions is it that are being awarded.
Yes, so that's why I just said I intend to review what's happened and make sure that it is compliant and that there is no confusion at all about what the process is and what the process should
But
be.
Mark's sticking a hand up, so hopefully she'll be able to answer us.
I was just going to say, the reason that myself and Kavish, the RFO, are on the signatories, if we weren't on signatories on the mandate, we wouldn't be able to do any internal, the bank wouldn't talk to us basically, so we have to be signatories on the bank mandate for the bank to talk to us. And I explained at the last time, if elections come and nobody came here, we wouldn't have any signatories to continue the business of the council. But we do not do that final authorisation of the payment, we do all the checks before. It will get, this is the new financial regulations that we're proposing to come in. It then gets sent to members electronically and then they authorise those payments. I take on board, and I don't yes, for other authorities, I would send that to members and I would send them a list of we'd scan the invoices in so that they can at home do that double check, so that what they're authorising, they can see what that invoice is.
Yeah, and they do actually need to be on the bank account at that time, I feel, that when you're authorising the invoices, because then you should have two people that authorise them. Our system allows for one, there should be two people that authorise them, and that can all be done at home, with the invoices. And I just think that would make it easier for councillors to be able to sign the invoices. Anyway.
But just for clarity, as we seem to be just for clarity, the documented process is that officers would put it onto the system and then councillors would authorise it. But it is technically possible for officers to be able to make a payment from the council bank account without councillors being involved.
No, I don't believe it's set up like that. It's always got a dual control, so it would need a second member to.
Or second officer,
Yeah.
because you've got two officers who are signatories and are able to authorise payments.
I suppose there's a possibility that that could happen.
Okay,
We have to trust our.
That would be the process.
but it's not about people. It's not about people, and you only need to go back and go from respect. I think it was about, I forget the name of the local council now, but there was one within almost walking distance of here who got taken for 60K.
As I said, I think we need to determine.
It's not, I don't trust Tracy.
No, I appreciate that.
I hate having to ask that question, but our job isn't to look at people, it's to look at process.
Yes, I think what we need to determine is whether the documented process is compliant. And also whether the documented process is actually being, whether it's actually being followed. I.e., what actually happens on a day-to-day basis, is that the process that is documented and compliant? And it won't take very long to determine that and report back.
I've got some questions come out that I'd sent in, so I'm just,
Yep, please.
on the allotments, at month 3, it was £485, and then in month 4, it was a debit entry of 165. So I asked what the movement of £650 was on this code. The RFO gave me an answer. He said it was a duplication of February 24 allotment fees. So that would have been month 11, 24. And these were reversed in month 4. And these items, I believe, were also shown as outstanding on the bank rec at the year end of March 2024. And I think some questions should have been asked, really, why there were February 24 receipts outstanding at the end of March 2024.
Right, thank you, Sue. I've literally only just now seen a copy of the email that you sent on the 6th on Friday.
Okay.
And looks like a reply
Correct, yeah.
from Carpesh. I literally just seen it now. Tracy just back from it. So I will, if it's okay with you, I'll review the responses and add my own comments if appropriate.
Question.
Other than that, I'm not at the moment able to answer any more detailed questions about
My next question, I asked what the amount to 637,457 on code 118 SIL was received for. That was month 2, page 143 of the agenda pack. Carpesh got back to me to say it was section 106 monies received for the East of Melksham development. Which is fine, but SIL monies received need to be posted to an income code and a cost centre in the 400s for SIL projects, as is done with the solar farm money. That's like on page 87. The cost centre 901 EMR reserves should not be used. That's page 91.
Sue, with respect, as I said, I've not been aware of these questions that you posed. I've literally just got a reply with a brief synopsis of what's happened. Can I liaise with Carpesh and get back to you with a more detailed explanation?
I just wanted to make the point that on page 97, we've got a general reserves figure showing us 658,627. But the SIL money should come out of that, and the actual general reserve figure is 18K. That's all.
That's it.
Okay.
Investigate and revert back to you.
I asked a question about PAYE because it had a debit balance, but I've spoken to the RFO and he is looking into it. My last question, historically, certainly on the time when I was a councillor, I have not seen published a year-end statement of accounts. The statement of accounts is a statutory document. Why have this not been done? The statement of account for category 2 authorities must take the form of an income and expenditure account and the statement of balances. I was not, the reply I got from Calpesh is that Melton Town Council is not a category 2 council, and that is a fact. No.
Well, at the moment, it's not practical to go into detailed investigations during the course of the meeting. I will do so in the next couple of days and respond in full to you
It's just,
by next Monday.
yeah, I mean, in our effort, Melton Town Council is category 2 because it's less than 6.2 million. Yeah. I've made some quick comments on the accounts, which is meant to be helpful, not critical, and I just thought I'd just pass on.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the licenses in software historically include payroll costs. And I pushed as a councillor when I was here that ought to be a separate code. And I'd just like people to be aware that payroll costs are still going into licenses and software. I haven't actually seen the nominal ledger, but that was gone in the code for payroll costs, which I think is not licenses and software. And that was agreed at one meeting, but the interest, 1,577.
Sue, yeah, you're sort of continuing through the same thing that I said, we're not in a position to respond to you this evening. But I will.
I don't ask you to respond, I just want councillors to be aware, you've got 1.8 million and your interest is 1,577. It's just not right that public money is not being invested properly, really.
Yeah, your comments are appreciated, but we don't have the facilities or the time this evening to act on.
I just thought it might be useful for when we're discussing the accounts. So,
I said that your comments are appreciated and we will investigate further and take action as necessary.
well, shall I just leave you a list then?
If that's okay with you, thank you.
But you don't want me to read them out, then. I just thought it might be useful for when you discuss the accounts, that's all. Just trying to be helpful, really. I'm not trying to.
Thank you very much. As I said, I'll investigate and respond within a week.
It's not for a councillor to respond to that, it's for an officer to.
Yeah, can I just,
We will ensure that
in
a response
defence to
is made.
Calpesh, we're now outside of the public interest side, and I think you do overwhelm him with your questioning, which then he can't get on with the job in hand, because as soon as we're answering one question, we're getting another 10 questions. It's just, and I understand you're trying to be helpful, but we're two officers that have come with no history, and we're trying to pick it all up and do our best to bring it forward. We can't keep going back over previous audit years. We know that the council's funds aren't invested, and we're currently dealing with that and moving on to CCLA. So, you know, I think maybe the way he did was just frustration that sometimes we won't listen to his explanation and then you'll come back with more. That's all. And if you could just give him the time.
Yeah, it's just that I was just trying to pass on my knowledge. And I just thought that would be helpful. That's all I was trying to do it for.
So, item 4 on the agenda, are there any other public participation? Item 4 on the agenda is minutes of the last meeting. John?
Thank you, Chair. A couple of things, please. Could I take you to page 2, agenda item 4/24, which was actually the item of the minutes from the previous meeting. Ironically, it says Councillor Hubbard also expressed concern that project plan updates were not on the agenda. It was noted that
It was a mystery.
You were
Can you recall what was noted?
I think it was noted that we were promised they'd come back to the next agenda, to be honest with you, but here we are without them, so yeah, so you know, I take you back to the comments earlier.
Councillor protocol is,
Amendment, but Councillor Hubbard asked for the minutes to be amended to what he actually
yes,
present them, as they are.
Well, my recollection, as I say, is that it was noted that this was normally to be a standing item.
yes. Or something similar.
Yeah, I think Andrew actually came into, when he was like talking about the minutes, he came into the office and asked me at that point, so he probably just forgot to put it back. And it was myself maybe misleading him to say, well, we've got this task and finished strategy meeting to get through all our projects and then, you know, it'll go on from there. So, sorry, it's a misunderstanding. It wasn't on purpose. And I think he just forgot to put that here.
I mean, looking back at my notes, I've got JH. This is just obviously rough notes. Nothing on project plans. AG noted. So I suspect that where it says it was noted that it should have been, it was noted by. I don't know, yeah. I think that's that particular bit, maybe it's supposed to say that your concerns were noted rather than it was noted that. I don't know. I honestly can't remember.
And
I really can't remember at this point.
do we still have the
Oh, yeah.
I do recall Councillor Hubbard asking for it to be a standing item. I do recall.
So could we amend the minutes accordingly? Yep.
So, sorry, what do you want to say? That it's a standing item.
Yes, that my recollection is that I pointed out, as we did earlier in this meeting, that this was meant to be a standing item with an update coming to each meeting. So that would need to be an amendment to the minutes.
Yes.
I think technically my two other questions, I mean, there's quite a few typographical or spelling errors in there, but my other two queries, etc., probably matters arising, which technically we don't do we? But I was just wondering if on the page 6, signatures and payment processes, Councillor Westbrook quite rightly pointed out the concerns over paying people on time, and that there was going to be a rota set up to try and encourage people to get. Has anything happened on that?
Not that I'm aware of.
I can answer that if I'm allowed to. It's basically no, because I had a message again last week on the Tuesday to say, please, can you come and sign today? It's like, can't always come on the day that an email arrives.
I remember that one. That was just before Food River Festival, but I was in Anglesey at the time, and it was, yes.
I got down here,
She's in a field.
And my last one was on page 6, 924, on the financial statements, and I'm sure we can come to this when we come to this item later. But it was pointed out that we were still having spend directly against reserves rather than against, and there was an item of £16,613 against 9202 in planned maintenance, which was explained actually to be restorative work on the roundhouse, and would need to be recoded. But I noticed that in the accounts that we have received today, whilst code 9202 has been moved and now appears to receive, they're still coming under earmark reserves, sorry, but it's no longer in the same section as 9203. But it is still an earmark reserve and it hasn't been moved to actually a spend code at all. It's still a direct spend against reserves, and there's a number of other spends that have gone against reserves rather than against the correct code that they should go against, which makes it extraordinarily difficult for us to be able to understand what money we have or haven't got. But perhaps we can come to that in more detail when we come to that item on the agenda.
So, subject to those amendments and revisions. Minutes, or do you?
I'm happy to propose the minutes with the amendment
Okay,
to the regular reporting.
thank you. In favour?
I abstain. I wasn't in the meeting. And I tried watching it and it was very long. Brutally honest, we haven't got a lot of time anymore. I think it's on. Who's that?
Item 5, grant applications.
The most up-to-date one, but
Let's go.
So, 5.1, back on track. The rehab service.
That's what I had printed copy.
Oh.
Read it from there.
Yeah, I haven't got it.
Read that.
We've got any representative from the organisation?
They were prepared as they language would. Where was it? The contract.
We do.
Invited centre policies unable to attend.
Observations.
Can I ask how much we've got to spend this time round?
3,750.
How much, sorry?
3,750. It's 16,000 for the year, so you've got 4,000 every quarter. But as it says on the agenda, you have to take off the 250 for mind.
Right.
We just spent the full amount last time, did we?
We did, yeah. You know, remember you.
Yes.
Sit in there, calculating to the last penny, John.
oh, have you got your spreadsheet open?
You can't give all.
If I might, Chair, it says, have you received an award previously from Melksham Town Council? They said yes, and it said what year? 2024.
I think they were on the last quarter, weren't they?
Was this one that we turned down last time for lack of?
Which one are we looking at? I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused.
Track stroke rehab. This one.
Oh, yeah.
5.1.
Sorry, yeah. I remember that being on the last one. Are you talking about the last one, John? Sorry. Lee.
Yes.
I don't remember seeing it for the last one. I've got the,
No, it wasn't.
it wasn't,
But it's just that they've had a, well, maybe there's a mistake on that.
Can I just ask if we can just sort of assess them all and then sort of strike out the ones we're not.
As
going to-
we did last time.
Yeah, like we did last time, so that then we can share the money out appropriately afterwards, yeah.
Okay,
So the first thing would be yes or no, we're going to give them something, yes, or not going to give them something, yeah, and then we'll know exactly what we've got and how much each one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
things are reasonable. Structural hazards in Brighton.
I thought we were looking at what we gave them last year or something, or last time.
Do a quick search if you want, because I do remember the name having
Yeah,
Yeah, if you,
come previously.
I think the same question was asked last time, as I'm asking now, is how many option people are likely to benefit?
45, it says it here.
What, 45?
Excuse me, can I just put in here, because I used to volunteer for the Back on Track group. And they are based in Wiltshire. The lady that runs it is a lady called Beverly Pace, who used to work for the Stroke Association, and she set up this charity for people not only in Wiltshire, but surrounding areas. And she runs a group in Wiltshire every fortnight, it is, I think, because I went to speak to the group because I used to volunteer for the group a few years ago. So they are a wonderful local charity. I just, my word in that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think what we're doing at the moment is we're just checking that we haven't won the money already this year.
Right, okay.
Financial year, so,
This is only the second quarter this year, so.
yeah, so it should be.
They came in March, by the looks of it.
Now, just to come in, we've got Mal on.
Perfect.
Hi, they did. They received Back on Track received 1,000 in March 24.
Oh, right.
That's not this financial.
No, it's
Last financial
year, but it's,
It is.
it's here, it's
Yeah.
pretty soon after the last one, yeah.
Okay. So,
Question mark against that one.
yes, I think we move on to the next one then.
Are we discussing these first like we did last time? And
Yeah,
then
yeah. Are we going to
That was-
or not?
Pat's proposal, which
That was fine.
sort of makes sense.
Just to, speed it up a
So
bit.
next one is community larder.
This is not community larder, it's the, well, it's the room hire. that It's to talk about.
Oh, right.
It's for the Swiss event.
Shall we ask Adrian to speak?
To talk on it.
Adrian?
Oh, yes.
Talk about the Swiss event?
Yes, I mean, we had a very successful one in March. It isn't about making any money. We don't make a single penny on it. It's about actually trying to get people to understand that actually the recycling of good clothes is a really good thing to do in order to try and achieve net zero. Net zero is not a dirty word these days, but it's about public awareness of the fact that if you put the fast fashion, you just get rid of things and it all goes to landfill. This is all about actually recycling clothes. So that people can feel more comfortable about what they're doing in terms of fashion. But there's not a single penny that's made. We don't charge even for entrance because it's done on a token basis. So yeah, we would very much like to
Just,
I asked for the grant basically because we don't actually have any money in the larder, a little bit of money, which we need to keep for our insurances, but we have no money going in and out. We're very lucky.
I'll just clarify, this is just a grant for £112.50 in order to pay for using the assembly hall for
Yeah.
half a day or whatever in order to move.
yes,
I move.
yeah, I've second.
Yeah,
I'm abstaining
Yeah,
because I'm part of the
yeah.
committee, but
yeah. I would have seconded it if you hadn't got it,
So
Andrew.
that one's,
Yeah, yeah.
that one's
We
approved.
don't have any money.
Oh, no, you're done. You've got to spend time on this.
That's one less.
Right.
Anything else that you could say?
yeah, the Marching Music Festival, the exact same thing.
Oh, is it? Melksham Music Festival's the same thing, they just want.
Food bank. That's food bank next.
Not in the same order.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Yes, so I put them into alphabetical order on this
Oh.
agenda, sorry.
Okay. So 5.3 is
I'm just
is
saying,
the food bank.
asking again, I have no issues.
So on to the food bank here.
No,
Well, in which case, can I move this because
I agree, I'll second that.
Yeah, I visited the food bank last week and by accident, I went there for something else and I was
Yeah,
shown
it's
around.
called
It was
Have
really
Them.
interesting. Yeah, yeah,
So we've got a seconder,
Yeah,
right, in favour?
yeah.
100%.
Thank you.
Again, awful that we have to do it, frankly.
Right, for music festival,
Again, they just want room hire. There's someone here for
there
this.
you go. You've been living for the day with the looking lady said, yeah, say you only Mike.
That's everything
Tell
they
us a
do.
little bit about
Okay,
it.
well, it's a community event, but it's mainly aimed at, I guess, school age people, really. It's somewhere where they can, it's an annual event which we put on, mostly attended for people in Melksham. It gives them an opportunity to dress up, but then in a safe environment, and we put on games and activities and performers, and generally everyone has a good time. And it's been running for quite a number of years, broken of course with COVID, but we have applied for grants to help fund the event in the past. This year, we're just looking for free hall hire, and we're going to use some of our reserves to put to the event.
Thanks. Right, I propose that one because,
I second it, it's a
Yeah.
really great
Yeah.
community event that people love.
in favour?
Thank you very much.
you go now. Got-
Five is, so we've committed, £1,500. 5.5 is,
Mike, I just need someone to explain this to me, because I'll be honest, this is not my strong point. Because this is room hire, do we have, are we just moving the money from one account to the other?
Yes, but that's exactly what happened.
It's fine, I just wanted to check that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so 5.5 is splash. Who's the first one? Sure.
We got anyone from Splash this?
Anyone from Splash?
no, they said 110, don't they?
We know what they do. Do we?
I have to be honest, Chair, we get Youth Action Wiltshire and Wiltshire Community Foundation, not Community Foundation, sorry, what are they? Community First. Through various guises, I think we had it with the young carers last time round, coming to us asking for funding for projects that are county-wide projects.
Yes.
And coming to us to ask for funding. So it's very hard competing. Do you mind, Sue? Are asking for funding from the town council to fund county-wide projects. although they do say 35 young people from Melksham have accessed their service since July last year, what we don't have is any indication as to the level of what that service indicates, the amount of time they spent, most importantly, what the outcomes or the impact of that has been. It's disappointing that they don't feel it necessary to come and talk to us about this at all, and what is going on. And whilst this is a good project, and I don't want to take away from the quality of what Splash does and the work that Splash does, it's a Wiltshire-wide service, and I'm just worried about us being asked to fund a Wiltshire-wide service when, you know, we compete for funds within stuff that where we're delivering for people or organisations who are delivering within our community. And I don't know if every one of those postcodes is purely just a town or whether they cover any of the. I don't think, for instance, SN128FD is a town postcode. I think you will find that that's one of the villages. And I don't imagine any of the villages have got these grants before them. Or
McDonald's 8FD.
that's McDonald's. So that's a young person who lives at McDonald's.
It's the, well, no, it's the run of
The run of the road
it's the
behind.
road
But the point is made that you know, if every parish was contributing towards this, then fine. But every parish isn't contributing towards this, and I just worry that the limited funds that we have available, and you know, you only need to look at how brutal we had to be last time in order to be able to try and make the money we had available go. Whether we should be looking much more parochially at saying we're funding Melksham-based organisations doing stuff for Melksham, rather than funding Wiltshire-based organisations doing stuff for Wiltshire that some Melksham people go to.
Yes.
It's dodgy, isn't it? If it's dodgy, I think I think it's hard when it's up against other groups that are from A, have clearly sent people, and B, are helping a lot more Melksham people. It's quite difficult to say yes.
Yeah.
But let's listen to the other ones first.
Can I just one thing, just picking up on one point you made, Councillor, they have apparently, according to the note, have sent apologies for not attending, so it's not the case of just ignoring this as such. Minor point, I know, but I just wanted it on record.
Have we given them money before?
Yes. I don't know when we last gave them, but they've definitely.
Mel's waving her hand.
I'm muted.
You're muted, Mel.
Oh, yes, sorry. £768 in September 23.
Thank you, Mal.
Thank you, Mel.
Obviously, yeah, we were sharing it out to get an order amount.
Yeah, and I don't recall we've had any feedback on how that went.
Okay, let's just put that one on the left.
Okay, so we'll park that for the moment then. Next is Wessex.
Sorry,
MS.
just quickly on the one we were just talking about, as Councillor Stokes has just pointed out, it does say that the estimated total cost of their project is £1,000.
No, sorry, £1,200.
So who's,
Just not even match funding.
yeah,
So
yeah, okay, we can move on.
Well, so we might consider 50%.
Well, it seems,
do we know who the OPCC are? Who are,
Office of Police and Crime Commissioner.
right, so he's given the other 267.
how generous of him.
Next is the Wessex MS Therapy Centre. And I'm pretty sure we.
I was gonna say, okay.
I'm third choice because the two people that should be here couldn't make it. I thought it was obviously somebody should be here representing the centre.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, thank you.
I have no idea how much of a difference that felt, but
Well, seriously, thank you for accepting our application. You had helped us out last year with some money for our garden that we've got. We're an independent charity, although we're not based in Melksham. We do help people that live in Melksham. We've just started an outreach project as well, that we're going to reach people in Melksham. But the grant that we put in for is for £1,000 for some equipment for our purpose-built physio room. We've actually would like to get a large exercise chair that would go with our existing equipment that we've got in the gym. Just put in a few notes here, so I'm not going to play with it. But it would be used in conjunction with the equipment we've already got, and it's like a movement therapy chair. So if people are less mobile, we're able to transfer them into this chair and do a lot of therapy in this piece of equipment that we would love to have in our gym. And I'd like to invite all of you here that have never been to us before, come and see where your money went last year, come and see the garden, and come and see what we do. Because we rely on grants like yourself because we don't get any funding. We're nothing to do with the MS Society, nothing to do with the MS Trust. We are a completely independent charity. A lot of people think we get funded by those people, but we don't. We don't.
It's very official, doesn't it? Yeah. And so where is it based? I'm just
Based in Warminster. That we have, we do the hyperbaric oxygen therapy treatment there. So we have people from all over. We have people that come up to us from Weymouth, Somerset, obviously Wiltshire, all over. So yeah, it's an amazing place. Come and see us if you haven't ever been to us before.
I see in your application papers, you've got similar sort of funding from several other towns within Wiltshire.
Yeah, I haven't got those details here. I know that you have supported us in the past before. The equipment that we're looking for is actually £1,400. So we've asked for £1,000 towards that.
thank you, Chair. Can I just ask a couple of questions? Don't worry. Don't worry, this isn't bad.
Okay.
I haven't got any thumbscrews with me.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just, because in the application, I appreciate you didn't write the application and I appreciate you've come to
Yeah.
present, so, but you're saying the piece of equipment is £1,400?
Yeah.
But we've got the application that says the cost of the project 62,000. So, would I be right in thinking that what this is about is a sort of, it costs 62,700 a year to run the centre?
That's to run the physio gym.
Okay, so the piece of equipment you're looking for,
Mhm.
can you tell me anything about that?
I have got some information here if you'd like to see it, but from how I see it, it's a bit of equipment that people can be transferred into, that can be made in conjunction with the other equipment that we have there. And it's would you like to see it? I've got some information here. Would you?
No, I'm fine with.
I don't know what to.
So it's basically, it's just a device to help people access the main system that you use.
And to be able to do different therapies actually in that piece of equipment. Rather than use a bed, it's a chair, like an all singing or dancing chair that physiotherapists can use to give people treatment in that chair.
Okay, and just one other question.
Yeah.
Okay, and this might be a slightly unfair question to expect you to give an instant answer to.
Yeah.
Because clearly you're not the big boss person
No.
of the organisation. But one of the things you'll have heard me going on about just now is about asking us to fund projects that lots of people from all over the place use and benefit from. And in the paperwork we've got here, actually, it's remarkably honest, which is nice, about the number of users that will be doing it. And it's very clear that well, effectively 96 out of every 100 people who would be using that facility wouldn't be from Melksham. So why should Melksham fund it?
I hear what you're saying.
I also know that there are a number of other town councils that you've approached and who hopefully will support. I'm gonna ask if we could just put I'm not even gonna say we do it as a caveat this year, but an ask that you could take back to your charity, which is, I noticed that you charge £15 per session to people to use for each session where they're using your therapy service. Understandable, you've got to pay for it somehow, haven't
Yeah,
you?
we've got to pay for the running of the centre.
Absolutely. I do wonder, because I have this real concern that town councils all over the place end up subsidising an awful lot for people who don't live in town council areas. What I would ask perhaps that your charity could think about is they could say, if somebody who can demonstrate they live in Melksham Town. Yeah, very easy, postcode, job done,
Yeah.
okay? Somebody who can demonstrate they live in Melksham Town could get a small discount. Maybe they pay £10 towards a session rather than £15 towards a session, because the town council has put £1,000 or whatever into the pot to help pay for this equipment. Because what I could look at then, I can say, right, the town council is subsidising this important service, and there's a benefit to our residents from it that's tangible to our residents, that's not there for others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if somebody from Keble down the road comes along and uses your service, and they're paying exactly the same as a Melksham resident paying for your service, but we're effectively subsidising their treatment. That's not fair to our residents.
Okay, well, I'll have to report.
No, and I'm not saying I want that to be a caveat that we enforce this time round. But you know, you've been to us before, I suspect you'll come to us again. And I'd like to think about for the future, that could be something that was being said. And I think you might find other councils where you're going to for money, if such a sort of thing was on the table for their residents, would find it easier to justify. Because our problem is nowadays, we have £16,000 a year to give away, and we have about £60,000 worth of grant applications that come to us. So it gets harder and harder and harder to justify why we give that money. Good causes be damned, you know. We have to be able to demonstrate why we give that money. And I think there needs personally, and I'll leave it to other members to obviously have their opinion. I think personally, we need to be able to demonstrate that there is a benefit to our residents, albeit perhaps slightly abstract as this would be, but there is a benefit to our residents from their town council making that investment. Because the £1,000 we spend there is £1,000 we can't spend somewhere else.
Can I ask, please, the application paperwork says 4% of your members are Melksham residents. Do you know how many members you have?
Off the top of my head,
Approximately.
I want to say we have about 500 members and about 80 volunteers.
Okay, so 4%.
That may be wrong. My role there is welfare and outreach, so I don't, I mean, I know some details, but I can come back to you and let you know.
So 4% of 500 would be about 20 then,
Again, I can't give you specifics.
which is quite a lot. I've got a sort of a vested interest.
And also, can I just say, we started an outreach project as well, which is a fairly new venture that we've started in Salisbury and in Stephen Green. So my job as outreach is I've been working a lot in Melksham to reach the people in Melksham. I've been to the Back on Track stroke route to sort of, because we're trying to take therapies to people that live in Melksham that aren't able to get to us. So the 4% figure, you've got the people living in Melksham. I'm working on that to raise that, to let people know that they've got access to our centre and the outreach programme in Trowbridge.
Yes, as I said, I've got a bit of a vested interest and an awareness of the benefits of this sort of therapy. My brother's been an MS sufferer for about 20 years. I know how much he personally has benefited. He's not a Wiltshire resident,
I was gonna say, he doesn't come to the centre then, right, okay.
I would like to propose that we do 50% of £700.
That's not, I'm asking for 1,000.
No,
Yeah, but the cost is
chair's
1,400.
Oh, sorry, I was like,
Sorry, no.
I know my maths isn't that good, but it's not that bad. Sorry.
I'm not against it.
I would be happy with that, John.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a great cause. There's absolutely no doubt that it's a great cause. The thing that I'm trying to do is just try and introduce something where when the next great cause comes along,
Yes.
that has no direct relevance beyond some people from the town use it. The precedent we set by supporting this great cause is one that we need to either do with the next, at what point. So all I was trying to do was ask, not to insist on it for this year, because we can't, but ask that gets taken away and considered as a way of justifying why the town, because otherwise the problem is that there's so many of these really good causes that are dealt with by regional and national charities that come and ask us for funding, and it's harder and harder to support them. I want to support them, but I want to be able to say this is why we're supporting them, because this is how our residents are benefiting as a result of the town council putting this money in.
Yes.
And if it's that they can get a slight discount on the usage, then, I think that means that as a town council, we have delivered something for our residents. Now, it's not fair to ask you to give us that guarantee tonight, but I think it wouldn't be unfair for us to say, right, this year we'll fund 700 towards the chair, and we ask the charity to consider that if it's coming back next year, this is something that they bear in mind.
I would give you my word that we will do that. We will come back. I will bring back the president of Melksham, and we will do that for you for next year.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I'll do that.
In which case, I'm happy to, if it's not already been seconded, second the 700.
In favour? Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, and please come over to the centre and see what we do.
Thank you for your efforts and
Right.
your work. Thank you.
Through your check, can I just ask that you let the clerk have contact details? Was that
Everything here that I'll leave.
or if you just leave some leaflets, that's fine, and then there's an opportunity to.
We have a lunch club on a Wednesday and Thursday, so that's always a good day to come.
Really?
Know the way to our house.
All I would say is if you are promoted for lunch, just let us know so we can get extra sandwiches in for you, but please, you're very welcome.
Dodgy does know you.
Oh, I'm called for.
Moving on, item 5.7, Youth Adventure Trust, and they're requesting £498.
You've got Emily Bolton.
Thanks for having me. I'm basically covering for my colleague who made the application, so I've got some notes that I can read out, if that's okay. So we've asked for a grant to support 4 young people from Melksham to attend their Pathway Days in October, February, April and June. Pathway Days are for young people in the final year of the Youth Adventure Trust programme when they're 13 to 14 years old in year 9 at school. At this point, young people have attended 3 residential camps plus 4 activity days and are into the final stretch of their programme. They consolidate what they've learnt and they start to look beyond their time with us. So what do they do on Pathway Days? They first of all look back, reflecting on their progress and celebrate the achievements that they've made. They also do some activities like archery, treetop rope courses. The second day is all about volunteering and helping the community. So the theme is giving back, and we look at voluntary work with them. We also do some work with Wiltshire Wildlife Trust through their conservation work on Lower Moor farms. On the third day, they're introduced to other youth organisations that can help. The theme of the day is looking forwards, so they can look ahead to do things like Duke of Edinburgh Awards, cadets and scouts. At this point in the programme, we talk to them about what else they might do after they're working with us, so that they can be signposts into different activities, programmes finish. The last day of the programme is a celebration where they have certificates, record of achievement, and they'll see their friends and the volunteers that have worked with them over their time. Many of these students have become disengaged with school and struggle with behavioural problems, which can lead to struggling with qualifications and employability. However, young people report back to us that because of the long-lasting skills that they've gained, they far exceeded expectations in school and personal goals, such as getting into university, becoming a prefect, and swimming in the Welsh Open Nationals. One teacher also described to us, the Youth Adventure Trust is instrumental in the development of confidence, inclusion and well-being of those students who are fortunate enough to be on their programme. We regularly receive feedback from schools in Melksham and throughout Wiltshire that teachers would refer twice as many young people to us if we had the capacity to support them. A survey we sent out found that 98% of the families we support are affected by the cost of living crisis, and many worried about putting food on the table and meeting bills on time. So the money that we've asked for will be just specific for young people from Melksham so they can complete their time on the programme.
Just before you do, John, currently we've committed £1,992.50. So if we were to approve this one and the splash, we would still be below our 3,750.
I want to do both this one and splash the community first. I'm just trying to get, I know the programme is a great programme, so no issue with the programme. I'm just trying to get my head around the numbers. The £498 for 4 people, is that the full cost for those 4 people?
Yes.
It is, because the project cost of 8,000, how many people in total of the project?
It's different for each year, but I think,
3,750.
I didn't write the application. So I think there's 80 who will be doing the pathway days in total, but 4 of them are from Melksham, and those are the 4 that we've requested money for.
Right. Because if it's 80, that's below that cost per person, if that makes sense. The maths didn't work out.
I'm not 100% sure on the numbers because I didn't write the application, I'm just here. In my contact surgery, I can get that information.
But if the 498 is the full cost for those 4 people, then it's over 250. So we should technically only fund half of that, shouldn't we? Because £250 needs to be matched, but over 250, isn't it? Needs to be match funded. Yeah. On the basis of match funding, I'm quite happy to propose that we effectively give 249, but I think the same rules have to apply to everybody.
Yeah. I agree. You have to have fairness.
Is that proposed?
I'm happy to move £249 towards.
Can we round it up to 250?
No, because at 250 they have to match on. That's the
Okay.
point.
Yep, thank you. Okay.
I'm assuming that was.
Yeah.
I'll second it. Yeah, it's fine.
Favour?
Do you just want to raise that we never did come up with anything for the stroke rehab service?
Yeah, right.
No, and that's one of the things I'm mindful of, that there's a couple of ones that we're going to come back to. And also, of course, we have to remember we're not obligated to spend the full amount. It can carry over to next time. What we're coming back to, Joe?
We're coming back to
So it's splash and then.
Splash and back on track.
and back on track.
What we currently got left in our allotment.
I make it you spent 2,190.20, but Councillor Whitting's figure was slightly different.
Oh, hello. I'm having flashbacks.
And it could be that I've got one down wrong, but I had, got mine's 250.
Do you want me to fire up Excel?
Anybody got a calculator on there?
Yeah, let's put it into a spreadsheet, let's be safe, hang on. Mine's 250.
Community Library 11220.
Yeah.
Food Bank
11220.
Yeah. Food Bank 700.
Yeah.
Music Festival 180.
Yeah.
Wessex MS 700.
Oh, hang on,
Sorry.
bloody hell. Wessex MS 700.
Adventure Trust 249. Which I make 219120. But as I said to you before, my finances aren't that great.
What did you make that out at, sorry?
219120.
219120, yes.
Which leaves you. What was it?
What was the allowance for today?
3750.
Depends on the orders.
Yeah.
So, right, speaking, strictly speaking.
Right.
Yes.
I just wanted to check what you were saying about match funding. Do you already have some money secure? And that's in that application. So I don't know if that's what you mean. I'm asking about that.
How do we look at it?
You can't search these things.
So you're looking at page 63?
It's numbered page 60. Two, I've got. 60, yeah. What, number of them, page 60.
Page 57 on the bottom of your page is there. Yeah. Sorry, it's page
Yeah.
64 on mine.
Company John Ford. That's great. Ocean Line. Where they have funding from other sources.
The total estimated cost of the project is 8,900.
3,030 currently secure.
Yes, so you know, oh,
But I really hate this system. It's so hard to find
so
anything.
on number there, right, and so the total cost of
Yeah.
the project is 8,900. 498 is what they've requested. This is how they're going to.
Yeah, but it's through you, Chair, I specifically asked, that's why I asked the question I asked on this, your project cost is 8,900. If you divide that by 80, that's actually £111.50 per child to attend the course. You're asking us for £124.50 per child to attend. I don't know how much from kids are more expensive, but I decided not to go there. So that £500 or 498 that you're asking for the motion kids is the share of the total cost of the project. So we match fund against the total cost. So £500 or £498 is the pro rata cost for motion of the entire project. So therefore we would fund half of that. You've got £3,030, I think it is, you've identified already in external funding. So at that £3,030 goes against your 8,900 total. So I'm afraid that's how it,
Okay.
that is how that works. And I've decided not to dispute the £20 surcharge for living in Melksham that you seem to be putting on there. I could have got quite excited about that if you'd wanted. I'm willing to do so if you want to push me down that direction.
No, it's okay. Let's not go down that route.
So, so we've got the stroke rehab to consider.
According to my maths, Chair, we've got £1,558.80
Yes.
3 charities.
available.
Yeah, but 3 charities we haven't decided on yet.
2 charities.
Two.
So we've got stroke rehab is requesting 1,000 and Splash is
Do we
requesting
have anyone who's
768.
able to attend from stroke rehab?
No.
I'm looking at the form that quite helpful form, I think, that Sarah put together. Yeah, it says, where is it, stroke rehab.
Is that the ones that had 700 last year?
I'll find it. I'll back on track. I think they sent apologies.
I think those Splash out there.
Yeah,
those
they
Splash
both apologised.
No, Splash requested 1,000, sorry.
Should we
But
just
they had
split it?
768.
Should we
Well,
just split it?
I mean, personally, I think the stroke rehab do an amazing job in the community.
Yes, some of them are young people.
Because you know what, there's an increasing amount of people, my mum works on a stroke unit, and there's an increasing amount of young people, you know, from sort of like in their early 20s, teenagers up, you know, like boys who are more in 50s and stuff, so I think they do a fantastic job. And, you know, if this helps them to continue that.
What's the amount between the ones we've got left there that is being asked for?
There's £1,000 in each of them.
So £2,000 being applied for,
And how much do we have? 1,500.
give or take, yeah.
Okay.
750 between each.
If we agree that both of them are equitably qualifying and both of them, I'm just wanting to double check the splits. You know, how what the project costs are and yeah, because the Splash one, estimated total cost of project £1,267. If that is the cost of the project, we can't fund more than 50% of that anyway.
True.
What was, sorry.
So that was the Splash
For
project.
Splash.
Yes.
Splash, page 45 in your agenda, Chair. If you look at section 7, financial information, there you go, down a bit, look, down, other way, down, bring the page down.
Oh, sorry, down. I thought you meant go down.
Down, opposite of up.
Just that I was going down on form.
Estimated total cost of project £1,267.
So 600.
So we can only fund 50% of that anyway.
637.
So that kind of makes it much easier in that respect.
And what does that mean?
So, well, are we happy that we think that that's,
I'll propose it.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, tell me exactly how much it is, so I don't.
638.50.
638.50.
Well, 633.50.
633.
Say it's not, that, yeah, 350, yeah. 350 is £7. And that leaves us.
I do have to say with the Splash project, I'm very disappointed they're not here to talk
Me
about
too.
it. Because the thing that concerns me is once they do talk about the number of children who participate who are from the town, all of their other evidence is based on national figures. It's not even based on their own figures. There's no measurement of impact of the Splash programs. not even across the whole of Wiltshire. The backup information that they give us is information about the United Kingdom as a whole. So there's no relationship between Splash and those statistics.
Can I suggest, or I'd like to suggest then we defer this to, we've got more information.
I would be more than happy to say that we defer, and we defer the funding to go with this one.
Yes.
And ask Splash to attend our next meeting to be able to, because what I'm looking for is, they do give some information on page 43 on their parent referral feedback survey. But what they're not giving is direct correlations between what they are doing and what the outcomes of that are. I'd like to see evidence that not for individual Melksham children, let's be absolutely clear, but for the programme that it is having an impact. For example, at Teen Talk, the measurement, and CAMS indeed, the measurement of if a child comes in, this is talking all about mental health, that's what this grant is all about. There are indexes that are used so that when a child commences, they will do an assessment effectively with the young person and get a score that represents the mental health position. And then what is done at the end, and what you can do is you can see from the journey that it's made a difference. There's nothing in this using any of the methodologies that are out there that's indicating that when they go through the Splash programme, they start at this point and finish at that point.
Right, so did we reach a decision on
Well,
the?
before we discuss
on the
that, should we
stroke?
actually discuss the stroke rehab and what we want to give them? Because I think that will give us more of an answer of how much we're going to put aside potentially for Splash.
We said it.
I would potentially do it the other way round, Jenny, which is simply to say we're recommending to Splash to come back next time, through you, Chair, Splash to come back next time. We know that there's a surplus now because we're not doing that. So if we decide that the rehab is worth the full 1,000,
Okay.
then Splash will be putting in a bid next time. There'll be another 3,500 in the mix next time, won't there?
Yeah.
So we're just saying that next time will be 4,000 and something pounds that people could, yeah.
Yeah, fair.
A few minutes ago, you indicated that
So they can only
you
get a
only
maximum.
support 50% of.
Oh, yes, on the fund as it is, so it's only be 600 and something anyway, you're quite right, Chair, thank you, yes.
Maximum, yeah.
So,
So do we have a proposer for that?
No, can we go, I would really,
I propose that we defer it.
yeah,
Well, defer what, the stroke or the?
No, the Splash application, to defer the Splash
not
application
worrying about the money.
till next time, don't worry about the money, just we defer it till next time. And ask that they send a representative. Yes. To be able to
So,
present it to us.
do we have a decision on the stroke application? then?
No, don't even manage to read out what I was trying to say for this one. That they send a representative and present evidence of outcomes.
Yes, I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
So is that a proposal?
That's a proposal for the Splash one.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, yeah.
In favour?
Right, now we can
Okay,
do
so
it.
just before you go on to stroke, so you don't want a new application, you just want, this application form will stand, but you want their presence and.
And that
Or would you
information.
prefer
yeah.
a new
No,
application?
this application can stand and they can provide the supplementary information.
Okay.
We'll make it as painless as possible for them, but.
So.
Strokes.
Yeah.
And we've got total cost of project 1267, 50% of it £633.50.
Where's that? What? The stroke people, that's not
The
done, that's Splash.
Stroke's asking for £1,000.
And they definitely.
Different thing on
on
stroke.
the-
Thank you so much.
So there's plenty to cover the full 1,000.
Other than, I'm sorry to be pedantic, but I'm going to be. we've just been quite tough with the Youth Adventure Trust in saying to them, we'll fund the Melksham residents. This grant says there'll be up to 45%, sorry, up to 45 people, 35 to 45 people will benefit from this grant, 12 of whom are Melksham residents. So we've just set a precedent, haven't we, that we'll only fund effectively against the Melksham share of the cost of that project.
Can I just interject slightly? So with the other project, we knew that there were 4 people that they were putting on that. With this one, there will be new referrals because you can't guarantee how many people are going to have strokes within the Melksham area, and obviously strokes happen invariably a lot. So how would we go about doing that? Because what we're saying at the moment is, well, you've got 12, but that figure could increase, you know, to 20 within, you know, within a couple of months, or
Could also decrease.
it could decrease. Yeah,
I think that's the challenge. So I hear what you're saying, through you, Chair. I hear what you're saying. I think that what you've got to do is you've got to look at the numbers they present you at the point of making the application.
Go on that.
And I think we could, I mean, you could say 12 out of 35, so we could fund the third, or you could say 12 out of 45, effectively fund a quarter. So we can exercise an element of discretion within that, I believe, quite reasonably, and, you know, decide
We'll do
to
that.
be slightly more or less generous.
And as we've done with the other application, do that for their next one when they come back rather than. So with the youth adventure, we said, not youth adventure, sorry.
So youth adventure, we were very specific, we would fund 50%
Yes.
of the cost of 4 kids out of that programme.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes.
So again, tell me if I'm doing this wrong. If the whole project is 17,260, yeah?
Yeah.
And they're saying they've got 45 people. who
Well,
they
then they're
help.
saying they're 12 people.
No, but they're saying overall 45, yeah?
Yeah. You find that one.
Oh, we don't have a total estimated cost of project, do we?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
17,260.
17,260.
Oh, so click or tap here to enter text on my one.
Oh,
No,
it said on the,
The next row down,
It's 17,260.
Yeah. and they've,
which is £383 per person,
So then times that by 12,
is £4.5 grand.
4.5 grand, so they're actually asking.
They're asking
less
for
anyway.
significantly less than 12 people funding it, than 12 people cost.
yes.
In which case we can apply the no, what I'm concerned about
you're totally fair.
is we've got to, we've got so many of these people coming and asking for funding now, we've got to have.
Great. We.
No,
Um,
and I think it's a totally fair way of doing it.
Yeah.
I just think if they're asking actually for £3.5 grand less than it's gonna cost to help the people in Melksham, I think we give them the full amount.
Is that proposed?
Would you want to propose it?
I'm happy to propose it.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Do we have a second?
I'll happily second.
In favour?
But absolutely.
And I think we should set that.
For everybody.
I think it's exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah, we've got to get tougher on these people coming in, because you've got all the surrounding, you know, there's no application to the parish. There's no application to Steeple Ashton, no application to Keble, no application to Semmington.
I completely.
And all these people, you know, that's why they've got a precept of 15 quid. And we've got a precept of 200. And I just think we've got to get tougher
Yeah.
on Melksham money for Melksham people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have to get very tough on location based.
That's what we do in the arms houses.
Well, we
It's
have
for
to
Melksham
be.
people,
We have to be,
because that's in charter.
So, item in
and it makes it hard because.
6 on the agenda is, to see the income expenditure account.
No.
Oh, sorry.
That's item 11. So much fun you're missing out there, Andrew.
Yes, I was looking at the wrong side of the screen. So confirmation of signatories for Unity Bank. And I
think you might need to mail in on this.
well, before we get Mel or anybody else, does this committee have authority to make such confirmations, or is it the responsibility of full council?
I think it's full.
In which case,
Because it's banking, isn't it?
Yeah.
And banking can't be
That's-
delegated.
that's my understanding.
So this is for information only then?
Which case we've asked to read it, it's good.
Sorry, can you scroll up so we can see the start of this section? Request for confirmation. So full council resolved.
Yes, it's resolved, so Mel's just given an update where we are today on it.
So all we're doing is noting this information.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but down the bottom to summarise. Actually, does the
Okay.
committee councillors wish to retain
That's got the full council.
councillors as signatories, there's additional signatories on there.
That's got
But,
full council.
Okay.
Councillor Ellis wants to come off, doesn't it?
Yes.
But again, it has to go to full council.
It has to go to full council, so
So this committee notes the information.
I would first the matter to full council.
Full council reviews. Probably fine.
Next week, isn't it?
Week after that.
Week after next.
Data comms. Okay, so I put a question about who we get our comms from, but was this discussed at?
It's discussed.
It was on the last full council agenda, which I wasn't at. And it felt that it had gone on the wrong agenda, it should have come here. If I'd been there, what I could have explained was that Hugh wanted it as soon as possible, so it had gone to full council rather than here. The discussion now, of course, is whether it actually comes under the devolved the delegated
Well,
authority.
I, right from the outset, said I am baffled about why this is coming to any council meeting. This is like asking the clerk to ask for permission to go and buy a pint of milk in order to make some coffee.
Yeah.
We need phone lines to be able to run the council. We have to delegate, we have to give a degree of confidence in our officers to be able to understand the basics and getting the right technology to bring communications into the building is, in my opinion, one of the basics.
It was on the agenda before, because it was the full council, not last full council before, who then referred, it was then.
Yes, well, it was on the it was on the agenda of the full council before, because originally I wrote to Tracy and Hugh and said, I think we should be doing this because we've got a high reliance now on Office 365, entirely void of telecommunications, so we don't have conventional phone lines anymore. Our phone lines go through our data connection. We're about to put public Wi-Fi in for the marketplace and all the rest of it, and all this is sat on one relatively low speed BT connection. And we can't get faster, we can't get BT fibre, we can get Telewest. So can I suggest we consider putting Telewest in as our main connection, and then the BT one could be a redundancy link up to that, which will give you the capacity. £65 a month, in my opinion, is well within delegated spend to be able to do. But it ended up, I wasn't at the full council, it ended up at, so the conversation then happened from there. I'm not quite sure what this is asking us for today, but I'm just begging that somebody somewhere just says, for God's sake, put this in and give us the relevant equipment to be able to do the job.
Propose it.
I left it in.
So proposed.
Seconded.
Agreed.
All in favour?
Do it.
absolutely, let's just get, I mean, like, how long do we have to talk about this for, you know? Just-
Oh, yes.
Get it
Yes.
done.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can, Charlie.
jump into the 21st century. Yeah.
Well, the 20th would be nice.
The 19th.
Honestly, the only reason I left it on is because councillor Griffin had asked questions and well, I left it. Yes.
That's a lot, way to go, guys, it is 9 o'clock.
Review financial regulations.
My God, you're still here.
I'm rude to leave.
Oh, no, you,
Please
go, it's fine, you haven't
You've got your money, you're safe.
Say again, thank you very much. I'll leave some leaflets there.
Please do, yes.
But please come over and see what we do.
No lunch. You're ordering your minibus.
And I've left, I don't know if you can advertise that for your council, but it's a new outreach project we're doing. that goes to everyone about it as well.
Yes.
The webpage, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks from Melksham.
We've members have all seen the new financial regulations before, but we've been hesitant on it because we needed to populate it with the figures. What we want to do is not tie ourselves up in knots. So I know they were only circulated today, but we put proposal figures in for delegated authority to spend before we move it on to council to agree with it. Can I make the suggestion that maybe members just have a look at that and then come back to me with comments? Would that be easier?
Yeah, we had the document, yeah.
Yeah, we've had the document, but we had the document a while ago, and then we resent it out today with
The numbers in.
numbers in it. But really, I'd rather John and that have time to look at it, because what you want to do is make sure you give your clerk the
Yes.
The powers that they
the
need.
power to be able to act.
So, next full council meeting is 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So can we,
Can I just, so just on that point, I did send out an email to everybody today that I need to produce the agenda on Thursday. Because it should be produced on Monday, but I'm not here and there's nobody else.
Commitment, man.
I'm sorry. I am allowed a holiday now and then.
No, you're not.
can I suggest then that, if you include this document in the agenda items for the full council meeting in 2 weeks' time, that gives this committee members a week or so to review
That gives us 2
and
weeks,
to feedback and any comments.
Mm.
Agreed?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's meetings.
Okay, so this came after the discussion at the last, when the calendar was set.
Let's not have a meeting on the 6th of May.
A new council will have only just been, you actually can't.
No, we won't have it.
So we won't have.
Vicky won't exist.
I did actually, yes, I did note that. So that would need to be moved.
My question is, how are those dates, particularly the 3rd of March, tie in with the budget
Oh.
meeting?
With the present council.
Yes, so sometime in the end of February, we've got to agree and set the budget.
No. I'll do that by
January.
about the 8th of January. First 2 weeks of January, we have to set the budget.
Right, it's approved by full council.
In the first 2 weeks of January.
That didn't happen this year.
Yes, it did. I promise you. Yeah, because it has to go to Wiltshire Council by, it's about the 21st, something around there. Wiltshire then have to collate everything together to do the precepts for the whole county. That comes to Wiltshire Council. Wiltshire Council sets the budget for county at the end of February.
Right.
So that's probably what you're thinking about. You're getting ahead of yourself, Andrew. You're not on county yet.
Am I going to be?
Full council in January is currently set for the 27th. So that could move as well.
Yeah, you've got
And the issue of your 6th of January one, as I put on there, is that when I went through and changed all these and then went through again, I realised I'm not going to be able to produce an agenda within that specified time because you've got Christmas in between. So that 6th of January isn't really suitable either.
Are we still going to have a full council meeting on the 23rd of December?
No, that's gone.
Oh, thank God for that.
I thought that was lovely for wine and mince pies. Do you remember the old days when we used to have a glass of wine and mince pies after our final meetings?
I actually don't have a meeting, but a glass of wine.
No, after the meeting, after.
Yeah, we did, we used to. It used to be really,
Yeah.
people were nice to each other as well.
Nice.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, a little while. We can secret Santa.
Can we get a meeting of this committee? Somewhere in the middle of December.
Only if there's no other committees on.
Well, yes, I
Well, at the
agree with that.
moment,
But I think if we,
you've got you've got committees, the calendar was approved at the last full council. Gives full council and finance in 1 month, asset and comdev in the next month, so there are always spaces. You've got the asset and comdev, but obviously there's 4 Mondays, you've got 2 Mondays actually that are always free for additional meetings.
93.
Sorry, I'm gonna be a real pain in the neck here, so if we're taking out the meeting on the 23rd of December. Then the last meeting of full council before budget setting is the 25th of November. And it's highly unlikely, based on track record, that we will be at a point on the 25th of November saying we're all in agreement on the budget there.
Yeah.
So can we just have budget as the only item on the 20th?
Take it to your January meeting. You've got a council meeting in January, haven't you?
Yes,
So you take it to that meeting.
we would, but based on historic and okay, well, put it like this, last year, at the 25th of November, we had barely started the budget, let alone finished it.
Yeah. We are gonna, Kapish is gonna call some like working type group meetings.
Yeah.
So, you know, for budget.
That was a bit excessive though, John. Normally we're a bit more into it by then.
We've never not done the budget in December.
No, we've never done, well, we did once, but that was an exceptional time. But I mean, we're usually well into setting the budget by the end of November. I mean, we've usually done quite a bit of work.
Yes, but we haven't agreed it by then.
No.
Last year was a particularly unusual one because you didn't have a clerk in place and you didn't have a finance.
No, last year was particularly bad, but trust me, Andrew, it's a long time since they've been good.
Yeah.
A long time since they've been good.
I mean, even starting in September, we never seem to get anything really done until about the middle of November. You know what I mean? Settled or even sort of seriously into it.
Well, you could bring the January meeting forward to earlier in the month.
the full council.
Yeah. Currently on the 27th, so it's right at the end of the month. And as I say, the January finance would probably have to move because producing an agenda would be problematic.
Right, if we bring the full council meeting in January forward by about a week, that, assuming we get a decision at that meeting on the budget.
You're saying January, forward by a week?
Yeah.
Yes.
There isn't a week to it.
Can I have a suggestion, Chair? Looking at the dates of January, we will be slightly late for Wiltshire, but not so late that we get a meeting, so. Can I suggest that we hold finance on the 13th, where it's currently scheduled in the old days, it was a finance on the 13th, because that's still in my diary here.
What month are you talking?
January.
January, yeah. Full council on the 20th.
Yeah.
Which in my book says it's ComDev. And then we can hold ComDev on the 27th instead.
There is no ComDev.
Oh, well, whatever was on the 20th now.
Yeah, you have.
I know I've got a new version of that, but I knew it was going to change
You've
again.
got finance, full council, ECDEV's always Tuesday, obviously, so that doesn't come into it. ComDev would be on February.
But you say you don't want a meeting on the 6th because of getting the papers out, which I understand. Okay, so if we do finance on the 13th.
Yes.
Then we can bring the final budget to finance for finance to sign off. And then that can go to full council on the 20th for approval.
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds good.
Yes,
Can you just say finance one more time then?
That sounds very reasonable, as in it sets clear dates for us to have got
Yeah.
things done by, and let's hope that this time it's a little bit more.
And then we can sneak a finance into December somewhere on that amount.
I don't know how you do it. Do you put onus on your committees to start looking at their budgets now?
Yeah.
But there should be, yes.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
yeah, yes, September,
Yes.
yeah, we usually
So-
start in September.
So if
That's
we
this
start
month.
putting that on the
Yeah.
agenda.
What does that, because each committee is meant to have its own budget. And if they actually come up, I mean, it's the job of the finance committee and then full council to decide, of course, how much of what they ask for they can have. But the opportunity should be there for those committees to be able to look at it. It come to finance to be able to look at it and say, you've got to be kidding, or to do that. But I mean, it's not going to be, let's be absolutely clear here, this is not going to be an easy budget, because many of the savings that we put in last year have not been implemented. And therefore, we're going to have to put the preceptor purely to stand still before you even think about any additional costs that we may have.
the other thing that we have to bear in mind is that, some of the resources that we anticipated having this time last year, by now, don't. We've got Tracy as currently locum.
We've spent them.
So we haven't got the staff that can do it.
Primarily the staff resources that we need.
But hey, we've got Clark and an RFO this time, and they're different people. I mean, this is, 200% better than it was this time last year.
The other balancing item that we're going to have to consider as part of the budget process is what resources do we currently have, will we have in a couple of months' time, and will we have in 6 months' time that we can utilise as part of the council process, never mind the budget. Yes, it will be complex, but I believe that if we work cooperatively, we can find a solution to it.
Anyway, can we agree those meeting dates?
Pardon?
Can we agree the meeting dates? Because that's the item of what we're doing.
But yeah, I've got, so for the January one, I've got full council 20th of January, finance 30th of January. Possible extra one in December. No, with the other dates, obviously the 6th of May will need to change because as it says there, and as you pointed out, it is before the annual meeting and after the election, so there won't be any membership. Annual meeting is currently on the 19th and then a full council on the 27th, so presumably I have to push it to the week between those two, which would be the
Well, it has to be before the annual meeting, if we're going to hold it with the current committee. The question is, do we need the one on the 6th of May? If you're going to do it, you're going to have to put it into April.
Yeah, ideally, by about the end of April, this committee will be considering the financial results for the full year ended 31st of March. So from that perspective, somewhere around the 6th of May or the beginning of May or the last week of April.
It can't be the beginning of May, the election is May the 1st. So as of May the 1st, there's no council. Well, there is, but it's not this council.
I mean, realistically, you're going to have to be talking about it. The last possible date you could hold it is the 21st. That's a bank holiday.
21st of March.
Yeah, so you'll be talking April.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could hold it on the 28th of April, but that is election week, and I just don't think there'll be anybody in the chamber.
No,
there's an asset management set 20.
But that's not.
but the reality is that every single person who wants to sound will be out. We've got to be realistic about it.
Yes, but
On election week, you're not going to get.
But we also have to consider that by the middle of June, the council will have to produce its AGAR and other.
But it won't be this council, that's the thing we've got to remember.
No, but there still needs to be a process in place for the consideration and approval of.
But that doesn't have to be done until the end of June.
So the first meetings of the next council will do those sorts of things.
So maybe we leave that date and we'll review that we do need to set a date, but let's see where we are.
I would have thought, I mean, by April the 14th, for instance, you're not going to have your finalised year-end accounts,
No, but by the,
but you're going to have your year-to-date, you're going to know what direction they're going in, aren't you?
yes,
Um,
that's what I'm thinking. That would be a useful, somewhere in April, beginning with a 2. We should have at least some initial draft results for the year ended 31st of March. That it will be right and proper for this council, this committee to consider.
I think it's March, it's fine.
I think I'm with Jenny on this. I'm not sure for exactly the same reason or not, but I think if we hold meetings that we hold during the election period, you've got to be mindful of a few things. PERDA isn't actually as big an issue as you think it is technically, because the process of the council needs to continue, but you do still need to be mindful of it. Attendance is a massive issue during that period, because frankly, if you're standing for election again, nobody, as a candidate, you tend not to be too focused on, do I need to attend this committee or that committee? You're focused on how many doors can I knock on, how many people can I speak to, because that's what gets you re-elected again. And thirdly, finance is a very fractious issue, or can be a very fractious issue. And I fear that a finance committee looking at year end on what's going to be a difficult year, being held when emotions are running very, very high because we're all pitted against each other to get re-elected and all the rest of it, I'm not sure actually that would be as constructive and beneficial a meeting as you think it might be. And I think personally, I think it'll be more helpful for officers if they're given that little bit longer to make sure they've got everything done, I's dotted, T's crossed, and can bring the stuff to the new council for them to be able to go through it. I personally do have some concerns that there's a long period between the election and the first meeting of the new council. And I personally think that needs to be a shorter difference, because it does leave a month, an interregnum of a month, almost, when there isn't. I mean, it's the 27th was the first meeting of the new council after elections on the 1st. I don't see why we have to have a 4-week gap. But
Well, let's take it to a vote.
that's well, that's not for us to do anyway, that's for council.
Well, there we go. So should we just take it to full council?
But for this, I just don't think it's worth getting that excited about holding an April meeting.
My more immediate concern is to make sure that we've got committee meetings scheduled appropriately for us to reach a budget. And what happens in April or May next year, at the moment, is of less importance. So,
Is it budget from council?
yes.
Yeah, but the finance committee attempts to prepare the budget and then.
We've covered that for the 13th of Jan for finance and 20th of January for council.
I think we take it to full council and
Yes,
check it out.
If we get dated in December for finance committee.
if we can, that would be very helpful. You see, and not necessarily now, Andrew, but
Yeah, no. Okay.
what would fit.
Yeah, okay, so look, the November and March ones, because one of the main reasoning that full council having approved the calendar delegated this, I think on your suggestion, John. And indeed on some of the Steve said, was taken, the meetings can't take into account as they stand the quarterly reports. So authority was delegated to this committee to change dates that have been approved by the full
For
council.
finance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what my recommendation would be, we accept the 4th of November, because that ties in with that quarterly report. We put at least one date in December for budget. Personally, I would prefer to see a date towards the end of November and a date in December for budget, because I'd like as much of those budget conversations to take place in a public arena rather than behind closed doors as possible, and they will be taking place, let's not kid ourselves. And then the January changes that we talked about, in order that we've got time to, and then we'll have to make a recommendation to full council. You'll have to put it on the agenda for full council that we've made a recommendation that full council in January is moved to the 20th in order to approve the budget.
That'll be about the last possible date anyway.
Yes.
Oh, well, it'll be past the last possible date, but Wiltshire will live with it.
Yeah, you know, yeah. Well, it's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it?
And the March one?
Just leave it on.
Yes. Okay. Right, so March and November as they are, additional meetings this November, December. January.
We say that,
20.
sorry. And this definitely would be stopped by PERDA. So we probably ought to try and get, apologies, Chair. We probably ought to try and get a meeting in before, I would suggest, mid-March for the final grant giving.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yes. Otherwise, that's just kind of stall otherwise.
Yeah, because otherwise we can't give out the 4th quarter's grants.
So on that basis, is it worth deferring that one from the 3rd of March for a week or so?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if we could work out what day that was.
Well, it's May
I was just trying to work out what I'd heard.
and middle of March. It'll be the Ides of
1,
March.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, around the 20th of March.
What?
And when
Grants.
Few grants.
Well, you've got, I mean, in March, obviously, you've got academic on the 11th, which is Tuesday, and full council on the 31st. You've got.
Would be better than the 3rd.
10th will definitely not be in PERDA.
It's not, oh, it's around the 20th.
Yeah, 17th is touch and go.
Yes.
So, well, I'm just thinking press releases and stuff, so I think that 10th is safe.
I agree.
Okay.
Thank you. So, item 10.
You're still voting? Oh. Propose, you propose?
Oh, yeah,
Seconded.
Sorry, you second?
I did.
Right, okay.
You just agreed for
Did you vote?
everyone
I
to
missed
pay
it,
rise.
sorry.
Still voting.
Taking over again.
Right, item 10, project plans.
Oh, we've spoken about this.
We've spoken about this, I need to actually give an apology on this because I haven't had a chance to sit down with Sarah again. I know we selfishly went on holiday and then had some LGA things, but I've been in touch with her tomorrow, organise a date to come in and we can get the new updated spreadsheet that she was making the changes to online, so that will be there.
Yeah, okay.
I do have a couple of updates on the items that you specifically mentioned in your email. Which was CCTV. This is very brief. You complete by the end of, I think that says month.
Yes.
And on budget.
Yeah.
Because you asked
Thank
for it to budget. War Memorial. Okay. Dave tells me that it involves Toby Jones. Not Toby Jones, he's an actor. Tony Jones.
Toby Jones. Very resourceful.
Rich and somebody else's name I can't remember. So at the moment it's a case of
Involves 4 people.
it's just a case of sort of finding a time when they can all do it and then it will be moved. Great.
Just on the War Memorial, has anyone seen it recently?
It's still there as far as I can see. I do tend to have a look when I drive past.
It's like,
Got orange.
Pieces, yeah,
it's in pieces.
Yeah.
It's properly in pieces.
yeah.
I just, you know.
The one from Cooper.
So it currently
Yeah,
looks like.
well, I think
It's still in one piece, isn't it? Since they tried to dig it out.
No, I think the plinth is separate.
yeah, I've seen the plinth. I mean, Richard was.
Basically safe, I'll be honest.
Where is it currently?
It's still in Cooper Even Tyres.
Oh,
It's
right.
still on their land. But it's
No,
just, this is what it comes
originally-
That was it, if
It's
somebody
some
can
time
calculate
ago.
them as the third person, they needed to confirm that.
Can we just encourage them to get on with it?
If we can, yes.
You also mentioned.
It's driving itself to much in town council. much more.
Yes, I'm happy that that's followed up
Okay.
by email response. Deal with it.
It's very unsightly.
So, item 10, noted. Item 11, income expenditure.
Out the binder.
I'm just taking my blood.
Green.
That would be.
Can I sort of preempt you, John, and think, are you anticipating accepting them, or
Oh, I've given up all hope of getting anything that makes sense out of them, to be honest with you. No, I'm sorry, it sounds very rude and I don't mean to be, but I think it's late. Yeah, I don't know where to go with it, to be honest with you, so I'm not sure it's worth it anymore. We don't have the day books now, do we? We've only got the budget reports. We don't have the
yes, I have similar sentiments that we've got effectively an incomplete.
very incomplete reports because we don't have the list of transactions that have taken place.
Yeah, that normally goes, I'm looking at Mel now, but the schedule of transactions normally go to council.
Comes here as well.
Mel,
Historically,
is that what you normally do with the schedule of transactions?
No, they normally come to the finance committee first for their approval before going to full council.
that's the historic process has been to this committee for approval and to full council, really just for noting.
Well, this is why you need to read through those financial regulations to make sure, because in those financial regulations, it says the process of what's to happen. So that's what you need, you're gonna have a look over this next week. If there's anything with the process there that you think's not correct,
But we're changing because this is a change to the process as not getting them here today
no,
is a change to the
Yeah.
process.
Well,
So
we'll leave that.
what I'm asking is in those financial regulations, are there changes to the process we've traditionally done that are being suggested in there?
yeah, because it's so different than, we followed the model regulations of how now proposes that we should do things. So unless the council has a bespoke method of doing something, that's where you need to highlight that's different from the now regulations.
Okay, it's just that I don't know the NAP regulation. I can go and read the NAP regulations, but all of these things are big wordy documents and all the rest of it. And we've always had a simple process that we followed, which is basically everything comes to finance, who does the deep digging on it,
Yeah.
and then gets noted by full council.
Yeah.
If that's going to be changing and stuff's going to be going to full council for the deep digging,
No,
then we're going to have to give considerably more time at full council.
I haven't proposed that anything's changed. What I have been doing is sending members, even outside of the meeting, your expenditure against your budget, so that you have so monthly you're seeing your budget going down or any income coming in each month.
As long as it's spent against the budget.
So what's spent against the budget, and that's what you're getting now. So you're up to date, you've got month 4 up to month 4. So I don't understand what more what do you want to see?
Right, so normally at finance committee, we will get this, which is the cost centre
Yeah,
reports,
yeah,
the spend against budget.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll also get a list of every transaction
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
that has taken place
okay.
from all of the bank accounts and from petty cash.
Yeah.
Because we're, of course, legally obligated to publish everything over £500, and we meet that obligation normally because that set of papers is in our finance pack. And that's every transaction published, so we're exceeding the requirements. We don't have that this evening, so I've got.
Can I go back to Mel on that
Sure.
then? Mel? Do you know where do you normally send or take your schedule of transactions so that members can see all the transactions taking place?
I normally provide the cash book, so the 2 bank accounts and the petty cash. So that will give the payments in, the receipts and the outgoings, the
Yeah, there you
payments
go.
out.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
This is going back to,
Yes.
Yeah.
September. So just to give you an idea, Tracy, this is what they would used to have.
Yeah.
The Unity payments, Unity receipts, Lloyd's,
Yeah.
both. and-
I haven't changed anything, so I don't know why you're not getting that.
Yeah, no, no. No, it's not a personal thing, it's a.
Why is that stopped then, Mel?
I think Cowpesh has provided what's on tonight's agenda.
So,
So-
yeah, if I can just, I mean, I normally when I'm preparing the agenda, I would, and this is pre-Calfish days, I would just email Mel and say, there's finance agenda meeting on such and such. This is what you had this is the months you had at the last one, can I have what you got? And Mel would provide them. But I think there's been I think the last one I did it with this one, I sent it to you, Mel, and you said you were waiting for confirmation from Calpesh, weren't you, I think it was.
This is what I was provided. What's on
Yeah,
the
you were
agenda?
asking what was necessary.
Yes.
So I think that's where the confusion has come. You have a committee clerk who knows absolutely nothing about finance. I just rely on other people to tell me what to put on there.
Okay.
I'm quite happy to go with whatever council want me to provide, and the cash books are quite simple to read and understand.
Yeah, that's right, because we used to just go down and you could ask a question about any excessive payment or anything you thought was excessive or inexplicable.
We will in future, every time there's a finance meeting, with people what's normally expected on there, we set up a template, so then it's not, if it comes to every finance meeting, we'll have that as a template to come.
But you also want the.
Expenditure, yeah.
When you've got there, yeah, you want the income and expenditures, payments, receipts, income and expenditures, yeah.
Because we're legally obliged to publish everything over £500 anyway.
Yeah.
So this is actually an easy way of meeting that legal obligation. In the packs that we've been given, I'm looking to see if it's the same on the. We've got this. Sorry, it's combining the balance sheet and the annual report and the budget report, but there's a reason for that. We've got a balance sheet now, which is on page 145, and down the bottom of it, it shows our in-year fund, our general fund, and our earmark reserves. And the earmark reserves have been broken down. That's actually really helpful in terms of showing us what the earmark reserves are at start of year, or if anything has been taken against. It doesn't show us if anything's been taken against them in year. It's a snapshot figure, not a start figure and end figure, which I think might be slightly more helpful. But what confuses me, if I look at, I'm trying to find the corresponding entry in month 4 here. I'm really struggling with all over the place. But on page 117 of the agenda pack, we've got an earmarked reserves section 901. So we've still got these 9,000 codes, and we've still got earmarked reserves showing in it here. Have they now disappeared from there, or are they? No, they are still there. I found some of them here on the earmarked reserves. So we've got earmarked reserves showing on the 9,000 codes, as well as on these new 300 codes on the balance sheet. So I'm not sure which is which. And against those, against the 9,000 codes on the, perhaps actually, you read 72 very kindly for me, but no, this is not, yeah. Can you go to page 91? I apologise for dancing you about, but it's the most up-to-date figure. Which that clearly isn't 91, but it's spelled
That is correct. Take account of the blank pages.
right there. So you've got there 9202 unplanned maintenance with a 56,702 balance.
That's last year.
Okay, so this, well, what I'm looking at is the actual year to date. Okay, so you've got 16,000 spent against the year to date. Why have we still got to spend against a reserve figure, which has taken the reserve that's now been moved over to the 300s into a negative? That was identified as a miscoding before our last meeting.
Yes, I think there are.
I thought we were fixing these mixed code.
Yes, I've undertaken taken these reports and slotted them into an Excel spreadsheet for my own purposes to get an easier month-on-month comparison. And I have similar queries about these apparent anomalies in the coding and allocation of transactions. Some of which have been resolved, but some, as you've just said, John, still seem to be outstanding. So, as we don't really want to go through a detailed and lengthy discussion and about line by line on these reports, can I propose that we defer these?
And it will be deferred yet again.
Yes.
But look, these are not new questions that are being asked. These are questions that have been being asked at meetings for 2 years, 3 years, and get deferred every single time. And I am really, really, really worried that we are deferring them yet again. Things that should have been done, things that we've asked to be done, we're having to come back to yet again. We've got now a new way of presenting these reserves on a balance sheet. These figures, we don't know if they're spent against these figures. We're not showing what's happening, any movement on these figures. I'm sorry, we have a legal and moral duty to make sure the council is spending its money correctly. And I can't tell if it is or isn't.
I agree with you. Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. I'm just well aware the time that it is, and I'm not disputing what you're saying. I just wonder if it's worth us having a special meeting to go through this line by line.
Yeah, I was going to, refresher, just had before the meeting I was having a discussion with John, and I think it would be good to maybe hold a meeting with maybe yourself and Kalpesh and maybe the chairman and that to go through those questions, because I can't, I don't operate this.
No, and I think you're bringing up really valid points, and it is right, because it's always at the end of the meeting. Everyone's tired, and we're having to go through them, and you're right, it is almost line by line, and we do need to, because there is clearly issues. But I think, we'll be here till midnight at this, the way that it is at the moment.
Yes.
And I just think we need to.
If we can arrange something with Kalpesh
To meet with Kalpesh.
many
Kalpesh got in on
members of the-
Thursday, so.
I don't know if I can this.
Many
It's
members
the only
of
way
the
that we're going
audience.
to actually get answers on this.
Yeah.
Because we have, and John is right, we have to start getting answers.
Yeah, well, back in the afternoon.
Yeah, I can do Thursday afternoon.
I can't, but. Stupid, I got myself.
If I, oh geez, I thought Kalpesh was going to be here, something's happened, that's why he's not here, I don't know why. But
Is
if
Mel
I speak to him,
available
we'll
on
get something set up, get a meeting set up.
Mel, are you available on Thursday?
I can be.
I think that would be helpful. You've got a greater familiarity with the day-to-day details than Kalpesh, I think.
Capish can give the overview as to why things should go or shouldn't go somewhere. I can just give you the base details of what we've spent, and then a decision can be made from there.
If you can be available Thursday, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but what's really important, I come back to, you'll remember that document I produced about 6 months ago that broke down the reserves and okay. So we've got a list here, page 146 balance sheet, yeah. You've got a list there that shows technically all of the available reserves.
Yeah.
But there is nothing on that that shows you commitments against them.
No, well, that was, yeah, that's.
And that document you produced was incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that is the sort of thing we need, but again, I think we just need to have people, we need to get Calpesh in a room and actually just go through it and be like, what is happening here?
But yeah, I just get frustrated because having done the job once, passed it on and said, here's what we want.
I agree.
So will Calpesh at this meeting, will Calpesh actually put those things right in front of your eyes at this meeting?
I doubt it, but we never know.
To be honest, Sue, at this time, we will resolve this.
Let us have a go through it with Calpesh soon, and then you're more than welcome to come back, but I think it's 9:20.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say that the adjustments in April haven't been done and they can be done. And I think that's when you've still got figures for the 9,000 for simulation early month.
That makes sense.
It's not using open codes anymore.
So I would like to propose then on items 11 and 12, that we defer this until our next meeting. Because we're not in a position to receive them.
Yeah, I do that.
Trust me, that's 2 meetings in a row.
Second.
Make sure that these come to next finance done, so we can actually look at them.
Absolutely.
Because I was like, it can't be another one. I appreciate it's,
Is there
it's not to anyone's fault, it's just the nature that.
Meeting closed. Thank you very much.